Hi there. I'm Julia, and I'm so happy you're here. I know how much courage and intention it takes to simply press play and choose to listen to something in English. Maybe you're feeling unsure about your progress. Maybe you wonder if you're ever going to sound natural or understand fast conversations. Maybe you feel tired or frustrated. I want you to know those feelings are completely normal. You're not alone in them. And even more importantly, they don't mean you're not improving. In fact, just showing up today right now is proof that you're already growing. So take a breath, relax your shoulders, and let's move forward together. Learning English doesn't have to feel like a battle. It can feel like a walk, not a race, not a sprint, but a steady walk with new views along the way. Some days, the road feels smooth. Other days, it feels a bit uphill, but every step counts. Every word you hear, every sentence you try to say, every mistake you reflect on, all of it builds your fluency. And yes, even the moments when you feel stuck, those are part of the learning too. Those are the moments when your brain is actually reshaping itself to handle new information. Isn't that amazing? Let's make this time together feel like a peaceful space. You don't need to be perfect here. You don't need to understand every word. You don't need to memorize anything or take notes. Just listen. Let the rhythm of the language flow through your ears. Let yourself feel the meaning. Even if some words float by, trust that your brain is doing more than you think. The process is happening inside you. Just like a seed grows roots before it breaks the surface, your English is growing beneath the surface. And soon, you'll see it more clearly. I know some people might have told you that you need to work harder, that you must study for hours, that you have to memorize lists of vocabulary and grammar rules. But here, I want you to experience something different. I want you to feel calm. I want you to remember why you wanted to speak English. In the first place, was it to connect with people around the world? To travel? To enjoy music or movies in English? To feel more confident at work? Whatever your reason is, hold it gently in your mind right now. That reason matters. It's your personal motivation, and it will carry you forward more than any textbook ever will. You're not just learning a language, you're building a relationship with English. Think of it like a friendship. When you first meet someone, you don't know everything about them. You don't understand every word they say, but you spend time with them. You listen, you laugh, you make mistakes and you try again. Over time, the connection becomes deeper. You start to speak more freely. You feel more yourself. That's how it works with English too. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. Let's pause here for a moment and just notice your breathing. Breathe in and out. Let your body relax. You're here to listen, to absorb, to enjoy, and that is enough. You don't need to be in a rush. You don't need to compare yourself to others. You don't need to measure your progress by how many words you can say today. Progress often happens in silence. Progress is in the effort you repeat, day by day. And that's exactly what you're doing right now. Sometimes we wait for the perfect moment to start something new, but the perfect moment rarely arrives. What really matters is consistency. Being here today, listening with curiosity, is a powerful step. And the beautiful thing is, you can return to this space whenever you need. You can listen again tomorrow or next week. This is your time, your journey, and there is no one right way to do it. You might be listening while cooking, walking, or lying in bed. However you're joining today, I'm here with you. I'm speaking just for you. And I want you to know you're doing something truly meaningful. Even when it feels small, it's not. Learning a language is one of the most human things we can do. It connects us. It opens doors. It teaches us patience, creativity, and resilience. Let this moment be about connection, not correction. About experience and not expectation. Let your ears grow familiar with the rhythm of English. The tone, the patterns, the sound. It's okay if you don't understand everything. It's okay to replay a part if it helps. It's even okay to let the words wash over you without needing to catch everyone. There's no quiz, no test, no pressure. Just you, listening, letting the language become part of your world. You're not behind. You're not too slow. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be. Doing what every great learner does, showing up, listening, trusting the process. That's what real learning looks like. It isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's steady. It's like water shaping stone one drop at a time. Every time you listen, your brain maps out the sounds. Your ears learn the rhythm. Your mind begins to follow the logic. And even if you don't feel it yet, the progress is happening. One day, you'll understand a full sentence without translating. One day, you'll speak without overthinking. One day, you'll respond and surprise yourself. Those moments are coming. Keep walking, keep breathing, keep listening. What you're doing is meaningful. You're building something important, and every minute counts. Let's make this moment feel like a gift, not a task. A moment of peace. A moment just for you. I'll be here, speaking clearly and naturally. Not to test you, but to support you. This space is for listening, for practicing, for growing your English with gentleness. And whether this is your first time here or your 100th, I want you to know I see your effort, I hear your progress, and I believe in your potential. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need perfection to participate. You just need to be curious, to keep your heart open, to listen. That's how real fluency grows. Through care, through consistency, through kindness. Let's walk this path together, at your pace. You don't need to rush. You're already on your way. Everything you need is already inside you. Let me share a story. When I was younger, I lived in a quiet neighborhood. Every morning, I'd see the same elderly man walking down the street. He wore a light blue cap and carried a small radio. Rain or shine, he walked. Slowly, but with purpose. At first, I barely noticed him, but one morning, I left home earlier than usual. I saw him resting on a bench a few blocks away. I smiled. He smiled back and said, "Beautiful morning, isn't it?" That's how I met Mr. Adrian. He told me he'd been walking every day for over 20 years. Not to impress anyone, not to track steps, but because he had suffered a stroke, and the doctors told him to move. So he made a promise to himself. Walk every day for just 20 minutes. In the beginning, even the end of the street felt far. His legs hurt. His breath was short. Some days, he only walked for 5 minutes. Other days, he made it around the block. The hardest part, he said, wasn't the walking. It was the commitment. Waking up every day to do something small. He said, "It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it works and it keeps me alive." That sentence stayed with me. It keeps me alive. No fancy schedules, no apps, just a promise. Get up, go outside, take a few steps. Over time, his walks grew longer. He began to notice others on his route. The woman watering her plants, the baker waving from the shop window, the boy running for the school bus. His simple habit gave rhythm to his days and strength to his life. He once told me, "Discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about being kind enough to do what's good for you even when no one's watching." That's true for language learning too. We want big changes fast, but real fluency grows from small habits. Listening, repeating, reading. One quiet walk at a time. One small step. One gentle practice. Years later, I returned to that old neighborhood, and there he was. Older, slower, still walking, still showing up. That's the kind of strength I admire. Your English journey is just like that. Some days it flows, some days it's hard. That doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're walking. And walking is what gets you there. If today you only listen for 5 minutes, that's enough. If you learn one phrase this week, that's enough. If you say a sentence out loud and feel awkward, that's still enough. Each small act builds momentum, and those steps form a path, a real path you're creating. Simple routines have power. They change lives. Just like Mr. Adrian changed his. And you can change yours. Now, let me share one more story. A few years ago, my cousin Sarah started a new job in a new city. She was nervous, wanted to do everything right. She planned her subway route the night before, saved it on her phone, double-checked every step. But that morning, the train was delayed. Another train arrived on the same platform. In a moment of panic, she jumped on. Wrong train, wrong direction. She got off, looked around, and didn't know where she was. She called me. Her voice shook. She said, "I'm lost. I'm going to be late. Maybe I shouldn't have taken this job." I listened. Let her speak. Then I said, "Getting lost doesn't mean you're not on the right path. It just means you're still figuring it out." She paused, breathed, looked again at the map, found another route. She arrived only 10 minutes late, and even laughed about it with her coworkers. That story reminds me, real life is messy, learning is messy. It's full of wrong turns and detours. But every detour teaches us something about the world, about ourselves. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about moving through them, growing from them. Here's another example. Once, I gave a speech at an international event. I had practiced for weeks, wrote it, rehearsed it, perfected every word. But when the day came, I was nervous, and I skipped an entire paragraph. I sat down, heart sinking. I thought I failed. Then, a woman from the audience came up to me. She said, I've been afraid to speak English for years, but seeing you up there gave me courage. And that's when I understood. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with effort, with honesty, with courage. Sometimes a mistake makes us more human, more relatable, more real. So if you make a mistake in English, say the wrong word, forget a sentence, feel lost in conversation, remember, it's okay. It's part of the process. Native speakers make mistakes too. Fluency isn't about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to try again. Each mistake builds resilience, builds confidence, builds strength. Someone once asked me, "What if I say it wrong?" And I said, "Then you say it wrong, and then you say it again. And each time, it gets better." That's what progress looks like. Not one big breakthrough, but hundreds of small tries. I once helped a friend prepare for a job interview in English. He was worried about his grammar. I told him, "They're not hiring your grammar. They're hiring your ideas, your heart. Let that come through." And it did. He got the job. Not because he was perfect, but because he showed up. These are the stories I carry. Not of perfection, but of persistence. Of people who got lost, but found their way. Of people who stumbled, but kept walking. That's what fluency is built on. So next time you try to order food in English, or send an email, or answer a question, and you make a mistake, remember this. It's okay. You're learning. Try again. Mistakes mean you're doing the work. They mean you're growing. Everyone you admire once stood where you are. They had doubts. They felt unsure. But they kept going. And so can you. You're allowed to get lost. You're allowed to forget. You're allowed to try again. Don't let those moments define you. Let them guide you. Learning isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing. Willing to try. Willing to grow. Willing to keep going. That's how you build something real. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build fluency. There's something special about the little moments we often overlook, the short conversations, quick smiles, gentle nods we exchange with people we barely know. I've come to believe those small connections are far more powerful than we realize. They stay with us. They bring warmth to our days, often when we least expect it. One morning, not long ago, I experienced one of those moments. Nothing dramatic, nothing out of the ordinary, but it reminded me how meaningful even the simplest human connection can be. It was a quiet Tuesday. I had a lot on my mind running through my list of things to do, already feeling overwhelmed before I'd even started my day. I left my apartment early to take a walk and clear my head. At the corner of my building, I noticed Mr. Grant, my neighbor from across the street. He's in his 70s, always wearing a brown jacket and a wool hat, no matter the season. He walks with a cane and always takes his time. I usually wave at him from a distance, and he always gives me a kind smile back. That morning, we ended up walking the same way, and for the first time in months, we started talking. It began with something simple, the weather. I said, "Nice breeze this morning." He chuckled and replied, "Finally, some relief from the heat." That's how it started. A comment about the air, a laugh about the sun. Before I knew it, we were walking side by side, talking about everything and nothing. He told me how the neighborhood had changed over the years, how his children used to play in the same park that now had a new fence and artificial grass. I listened, curious. He spoke slowly, choosing his words carefully, and I felt my own pace slowing down, not just my steps, but my thoughts. Then he said something I'll never forget. It's easy to feel invisible as you get older. People pass by, they're busy, they look at their phones, but when someone stops to talk, even for a minute, it makes the day feel brighter. That line stayed with me. I realized how often we move through life without noticing the people around us. We get focused on responsibilities, goals, routines, and forget how powerful a few words can be. Not just for others, but for ourselves too. That short conversation changed the tone of my day. I'd started the morning feeling rushed and stressed, but after speaking with Mr. Grant, I felt grounded, more present. It reminded me that we're all sharing this world, these sidewalks, these little pockets of time. When we take a moment to acknowledge someone else with a greeting, a compliment, a short exchange, we build something meaningful, even if it only lasts a minute. This reminded me of another moment, years ago, when I was still a student. I took the same bus every morning. There was a woman who sat in the same seat each day, usually reading or staring quietly out the window. We never spoke. But one day, I noticed her struggling with her bag. One strap had snapped, and she was trying to hold it together while balancing her things. I reached over and offered to help carry a few books. She smiled and said, "Thank you." That tiny gesture opened a door. From that day, we started greeting each other, sometimes a nod, sometimes a short chat about the weather or traffic. Eventually, I learned she was a teacher nearby. Our conversations were brief, but they became part of my daily rhythm. I missed them when she wasn't on the bus. What struck me most was how that connection formed so effortlessly just because of one small act of kindness. It taught me that we don't need deep or long conversations to feel seen. We don't need to know someone's whole story to care. Sometimes, simply showing up in someone's line of sight with warmth and attention makes a difference. These small connections matter even more when we're learning something new, like practicing English or navigating unfamiliar situations. These moments can encourage us in ways we don't always notice. I remember a student telling me about the first time she ordered coffee in English. She was nervous, her voice shaky, but the barista smiled and said, "You speak very well." That single sentence gave her the confidence to try again the next day. A brief exchange, a simple compliment. Suddenly, someone feels seen, supported, empowered. I think about how many people walk through the world feeling unnoticed. Maybe they're shy, maybe they're tired, maybe they're new to a place or new to a language. And then, someone smiles, says hello, helps carry something heavy, or shares a kind word. That can shift their whole day, sometimes even their whole week. One of the things I love most about learning a language is how it teaches us to notice. When you learn a new language, you pay more attention to people, to gestures, to tone. You listen more carefully. You become more curious. That curiosity opens the door to connection. It lets you reach out, make eye contact, ask a question, share a laugh. Even if your vocabulary is limited, even if your grammar isn't perfect, you still have the power to connect. I once met a woman from South Korea at a community event. Her English was basic, but her energy was warm. We sat next to each other at lunch, and she offered me a homemade rice snack she had brought. I accepted with gratitude, and we began talking slowly using simple words, pointing at things to help us understand each other. We talked about our favorite foods, the weather that day, and her children's names. It wasn't a deep or complex conversation, but it was real. It was kind. We shared something. And at the end, she said, "Thank you for listening to me. I always feel shy, but today I feel proud." That's the kind of power we all carry, the ability to make someone feel proud, to help someone feel visible, not with grand gestures, but with presence, with a short conversation, a shared moment, a few minutes of genuine attention. So, whenever I walk down the street, wait in line, or step into an elevator, I remind myself these are not just empty moments, they're opportunities. Every person I see is carrying their own story, their own thoughts, their own silent worries. And sometimes a simple, "Hi, how are you?" can make all the difference. Not just for them, but for me too. These moments connect us. They soften the hard edges of our day. They remind us we belong to a shared world, even if our paths only cross for a second. Even now, as I speak to you, I know I may never meet you in person, but this space between us, you're listening, my speaking, it's a connection too. A human one. It may be quiet, but it matters. Because what we share through language, attention, kindness, that's what stays with us. That's what builds meaning. That's what builds care. So the next time you have a chance to say a kind word, start a small conversation or offer a smile, take it. You never know how much it might brighten someone's day or yours. When I think about household chores, I used to see them as something heavy, something that had to be done, not something anyone looked forward to. Cleaning the kitchen, folding laundry, sweeping the floor, it felt like a never-ending list of duties piling up. But one day, something shifted. It started with something simple, music and a little teamwork. It was a rainy Sunday morning, the kind when all you want to do is stay in bed, maybe with a good book or a warm drink. But the house needed attention. The dishes from the night before were still stacked in the sink. The laundry basket was full. The floors were covered with little footprints from a muddy walk the day before. I looked around and sighed. Well, I guess today is cleaning day. But instead of doing it all alone like I usually did, I asked for help. I found my partner reading on the couch. I said, "How about we make this a team effort today? I'll do the dishes if you vacuum, and maybe we can race. Whoever finishes first gets to choose the movie tonight." He smiled. "Only if we play music," he said. I agreed immediately. We turned on our favorite playlist, upbeat, cheerful songs we both liked. Suddenly, something shifted. Washing dishes didn't feel like a burden anymore. It became part of a rhythm. My hands moved in time with the music. I could hear the hum of the vacuum from the next room. Every now and then, he'd pop his head in with a funny comment or a dance move to make me laugh. I did the same. We joked, we moved, we got things done, and somehow, we were having fun. At one point, we met in the hallway, arms full of towels and cleaning cloths. We stood there laughing because we looked like two characters from a sitcom, slightly messy, a little tired, but totally in sync. I remember thinking, why didn't we do this before? Sharing the work didn't just make it easier. It made it lighter. It turned a chore into a connection. Later, folding laundry side by side, we talked about our week, things we hadn't shared in the busyness of daily life. What started as a task became a space for conversation, laughter, little surprises. It reminded me that routine, when shared, can be beautiful. Even something as simple as drying dishes together can feel like quality time. That day stayed with me. It taught me that we often underestimate the power of shared responsibility, not just in making things more efficient, but in bringing people closer. When we invite someone into the process, cooking dinner, organizing a shelf, setting the table, we're not just sharing work. We're building something, a sense of support, of teamwork, of care. And even if we do it imperfectly with mistakes, little messes along the way, it becomes a memory, a moment we shared, a piece of our relationship. I've seen this in other homes too. I once visited a friend with 3 young children. I expected chaos, toys everywhere, dishes in the sink, parents exhausted. But instead, I walked into a calm, joyful scene. The children were helping set the table for dinner. One folded napkins in funny triangles. Another proudly carried plates. Their mother said, "We make a game out of it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be shared." Later, she told me how she used to feel overwhelmed by responsibilities. But inviting her kids into the tasks didn't make things faster. It made them more meaningful. Not every day was smooth, but something changed in their home. More laughter, more cooperation, more ownership. And it started with the simple idea that routine doesn't have to be a solo mission. It can be a shared dance. That reminded me of something my grandmother used to say when I was little. I helped her make bread standing on a stool. She'd let me pour flour, stir dough, and she'd say, "When we do it together, it tastes better." At the time, I thought she meant the bread. Now I understand she meant life. When we share the process, even the messy, boring parts, everything feels warmer. It doesn't have to be family either. I once lived with 2 roommates in university. Different schedules, personalities, and ideas about clean. For a while, things were tense. Dishes stayed in the sink. Trash wasn't taken out. No one wanted to remind the others. But one day, instead of notes or messages, I suggested we make cleaning a weekly routine together. "Let's pick a time, put on music, and get it done," I said. To my surprise, they agreed. Every Saturday morning became cleaning hour. We took turns choosing playlists. We joked about who made the biggest mess. By the end, the apartment sparkled, and so did our friendships. We stopped seeing chores as reasons to argue and started seeing them as something to own together. That small shift made all the difference. These simple moments have shaped how I see daily life. I believe joy isn't in big events. It's in how we move through the ordinary, folding laundry into a chat, cooking dinner into care, cleaning while laughing at ourselves. These are the threads that weave joy into everyday life. So now when I see a pile of dishes or a floor to sweep, I don't feel the same weight. I remember the music, the laughter, the conversations. I know even the most mundane task can become something more if I let it. If I invite someone in, if I stop seeing chores as punishment and start seeing them as chances to connect, to be present, to create small pockets of joy. The truth is, We're not meant to carry everything alone. Not in language learning, work, or home. Life becomes lighter when we share it. Sometimes the simplest way to strengthen a relationship is folding a towel together, taking out the trash together, laughing over missed spots while cleaning a window. It's not about perfection. It's about doing it together. That's where the joy lives. In the middle of mess, music, movement, shared effort, that's where routine becomes something more. Something worth remembering. Something worth repeating. I want to share a story with you, one that has stayed with me for a long time. It's the story of Andre. I met him years ago when I was living in a small town. My cousin owned a furniture workshop there. It wasn't a big place, just a garage-sized space, filled with the smell of sawdust and sunlight coming in through dusty windows. Andre had just started working there. He was quiet, often unsure of himself. He always stood a little to the side, watching more than doing. At first, he didn't talk much. You could see the nervousness in his face. His hands would hover over tools like he was afraid to touch them. If someone gave him a simple task, sanding a piece of wood, sweeping the floor, he'd nod silently and do it carefully, but very slowly. Andre had never worked with wood before. Before this, he worked in a supermarket stocking shelves until it closed. When he applied for the workshop job, he told my cousin he wanted to learn a new skill. Something real. Something he could build with his own hands. But wanting something and believing you can do it, those are two different things. That's what I saw in Andre. He wanted to learn, but he didn't believe he could. One day, my cousin asked Andre to help cut a long plank. It wasn't a difficult cut, but it had to be straight. Andre nodded, hesitated, then said, "Can you show me again?" So, my cousin did. He explained the angle, the movement, the pressure. Andre listened carefully. Then he tried. The cut wasn't straight, not even close, but Andre didn't get discouraged. He picked up another plank and tried again. Still crooked. That day, he stayed after hours, practicing with leftover pieces, measuring, cutting, measuring again. I remember walking by the workshop after dark, hearing the soft buzz of the saw inside. Over the next few weeks, Andre kept practicing. He was always the first to arrive and the last to leave. Slowly, something began to change. The way he held the tools, the way he moved around the workshop, it became more natural. One afternoon, my cousin gave him a small project making a wooden stool. Nothing fancy, just 4 legs and a round seat. Andre looked nervous, but he nodded. He spent hours planning, drawing, checking the measurements twice before making a single cut. Hemade mistakes. Yes, the first leg he cut was too short. The second one wasn't even. But he kept going. He didn't give up. When the stool was finally finished, it was imperfect. The legs were slightly uneven. The surface had rough patches. But Andre had built it with his own hands from scratch. I remember how he stood there looking at it, not exactly smiling, but with a quiet satisfaction in his eyes. He didn't say much, but you could tell how proud he was. That was just the beginning. Over the months, he improved. He started helping with larger projects. He learned how to carve, polish, and choose the right wood for each design. He asked questions. He listened. He tried things. Failed. Tried again. One day, my cousin said to me, "He's one of the best I've ever had in here. Never thought he'd go this far." I smiled and said, "It's because he didn't quit." Andre's story reminds me of something important. Every expert you see today once stood where you stand now. Uncertain, unskilled, a little afraid. Maybe you feel that way about learning English. Maybe you think, "I'll never get it," or "I make too many mistakes." But let me tell you something. Every single person who speaks English fluently now once said their first sentence with hesitation. Everyone had to ask, "Can you say that again?" Or, "Did I say it right?" That's not failure. That's the process. You don't need to be perfect from the start. You don't even need to be good. You just need to keep showing up, just like Andre, showing up in the workshop every day, hands shaking, still trying. That's what builds progress. That's how you grow. And here's another thing. Your efforts matter, even when you don't see results right away. Maybe you listened to a podcast and didn't understand much. Maybe you repeated a sentence 5 times and still struggled with pronunciation. But every one of those moments shapes your path. Every little action adds something. It's all part of learning. Sometimes I think back to Andre sanding the same piece of wood over and over. Not because someone told him to, because he wanted to understand how it worked. That's learning. That curiosity, that quiet persistence, that willingness to try again. And it applies to English too. Every time you listen to a new phrase, or speak out loud, even when no one is around to hear you, you're doing the work that counts. I want you to think about something you've already improved at. Maybe you once struggled to say hello in English. Now you can say hello. Ask someone how they are. Maybe even answer. That's growth. That's real. That's your proof that you are learning, that you are changing. Keep that in mind when things feel hard. Keep that in mind when you think others are learning faster. Your path is yours. Just keep walking it. You don't need to rush. You don't need to compare. You just need to keep practicing. Like Andra, taking one tool at a time, one project at a time, learning not just the techniques, but the confidence that comes with doing. You are doing that too. Every sentence you listen to, every word you repeat, every small success, that's you building your skill quietly, strongly. The first piece Andre ever built still sits in that workshop. It's not perfect, but it's special, because it marked the beginning of something much bigger. Just like your early steps in English, maybe your first sentence is a little off. Maybe your grammar isn't perfect, but it's yours. It's the start of something you'll be proud of later. And you'll look back just like Andre and say, "I did that. I really did." There's beauty in simplicity. There's strength in small routines. Drinking a glass of water. Going to bed a little earlier, taking a slow walk, eating something that nourishes you, saying one kind sentence to yourself. These are not small things. They are life-changing over time. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's essential. When you feel better, you think more clearly. You listen better. You learn faster. Whether you're studying, working, parenting, or just finding your way, your energy is your fuel. And when that energy is low, everything feels heavier. But when you give yourself little supports throughout the day, everything becomes a bit lighter. I'm still learning. I still have days when I forget to drink water or stay up too late. But now, I notice the difference more quickly. I come back to those little habits that keep me grounded. Not because I'm perfect, but because I've learned that small things matter. A 5-minute walk can clear your mind. A full glass of water can bring focus back. A gentle stretch can ease your body. These are not just habits. They're ways of showing care. And you deserve that care. You deserve to feel well. Even on your busiest days, especially on those days. As I sit here thinking about everything we've shared in this episode, I want to take a moment to speak directly to you, not just as someone learning English, not just as someone trying to improve a skill, but as a person on a journey of learning, of growth, of discovering what's possible. When you believe in yourself, just a little more each day. I've seen it time and time again, in others and in myself. The smallest steps can lead to the most meaningful transformations. And I want you to remember, whatever you're working toward, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when it feels difficult. Even when progress feels slow, even when no one is watching. Every person I've mentioned in this episode, each story, each small change, has something in common. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They didn't need everything to be in place. They simply started. They tried one small thing. And that's what you're doing too. By listening to this, by staying with me until now, you're showing that same intention. You want something better for yourself. Maybe it's more confidence in speaking English. Maybe it's more calm in your daily life. Maybe it's more clarity, more energy, more presence. Whatever it is, it starts with noticing, with reflecting, with believing that you can take one more step. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned is that growth doesn't always feel like growth. It often feels like uncertainty, like confusion, like trying something and not getting it right the first time. But that's what growth actually looks like. It's quiet. It's humble. It's built in the background. While you keep showing up, the moments when you feel stuck, when you doubt yourself, when you question if it's even worth it, those are the moments when real change is happening. Because in those moments, you have a choice. And choosing to keep going, even if it's slow, even if it's hard, that's strength. I want you to think about a time when you learned something new. Anything. Maybe it was learning to ride a bike. Maybe it was cooking a new recipe. Maybe it was understanding a song in English for the first time. At the beginning, it probably felt confusing. But over time, with repetition, something shifted. Your body understood. Your mind caught on. You didn't need to think so hard about it anymore. That's the beauty of learning. What feels difficult today will eventually feel natural. And that includes your English. That includes your self-care. That includes your confidence. I once met a woman named Amina. She had just moved to a new country. She barely spoke English. On every conversation felt like a mountain. But she told me something that stayed with me. She said, Every morning, I remind myself that I don't need to be fluent today. I just need to try. She practiced for 5 minutes every morning. Just 5. A sentence. A short audio. A word she didn't know. And over time, her confidence grew. She started joining conversations. She started understanding more. Not because she studied for hours, but because she didn't stop. She kept trying every single day. You are capable of learning. You are capable of growing, even if it doesn't feel fast, even if it doesn't feel perfect. I want you to hear this deeply. Progress is not always loud. It doesn't always look impressive from the outside, but it's happening. When you repeat a word out loud, when you take a deep breath before speaking, when you choose to listen even when it's hard, when you show up for yourself, even in small ways. That is progress. That is growth. I know that some days are harder than others. Some days you might feel like you're moving backwards. You might compare yourself to others. You might wonder if you're doing enough. I felt that way too. It's part of being human. But I want you to be gentle with yourself. Speak to yourself like you would speak to a friend. You wouldn't tell a friend, "You're not doing enough." You would say, "I see you trying. I'm proud of you." So say that to yourself. Say, "I'm trying. I'm learning. I'm growing." Because you are. There's something incredibly powerful about believing in your ability to grow. Not just believing in your talents or your intelligence, but in your ability to keep going, to adapt, to get stronger with time. That's where real confidence comes from. Not from knowing everything, but from knowing that you can learn anything, from knowing that you can figure things out, from trusting yourself enough to take the next step. One of my favorite things about this community, this space we're building together, is that it's filled with people just like you. People who are curious, who are brave enough to keep learning, who want something better for themselves. You are not alone. Even if you're learning by yourself, even if no one around you understands your journey, you are not alone. Every time you listen, every time you practice, every time you reflect, you are connecting with others who are doing the same. We may be in different countries, we may speak different languages, but we share something in common, the desire to grow. So, when you finish this episode, I want you to hold on to one simple idea. You are capable of learning and growing every single day. Even if it's just one new word, even if it's just one new thought, even if it's just one moment of quiet reflection, that's how it happens. That's how you move forward. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep going. And if today was a difficult day, if your mind feels tired or your motivation feels low, that's okay. You're still growing. Growth doesn't stop when things feel heavy. In fact, some of the strongest growth happens in silence, in struggle, in uncertainty. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust that each small step matters, and each small effort adds up. You don't need permission to care for yourself. You don't need approval to speak kindly to yourself. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. Everything you need is already within you. The courage to try, the strength to continue, the heart to keep believing even when it's hard. That's what makes you capable. That's what makes this journey worth it. So today, wherever you are in the world, whatever your day looks like, take a moment to acknowledge yourself. You showed up, you listened, you reflected, you grew, and you will keep growing because you are capable of learning and growing every day, and I believe in you. Let's take a quiet moment now, just you and me, to slow things down and bring the words to life. I want you to hear them, feel them, and say them, because when you speak out loud, something shifts. The language starts to belong to you. Your voice becomes part of the learning process. This moment isn't about getting everything perfect. It's about practicing in a way that feels safe and steady. So, wherever you are, whether you're walking, sitting, or resting, just let your voice join me. Let's begin slowly. Repeat after me. I am learning English. Say it again. I am learning English. Now, a little more confidently. I am learning English. Step by step. Good. Let's build on that. Repeat after me. I don't need to be perfect. Again. I don't need to be perfect. Now add this. I just need to keep going. Let's say it all together. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going. Take a breath. Let those words sink in. You're not just repeating sounds. You're building a mindset, one that gives you space to learn and be kind to yourself. Now try this. I can learn something new every day. Again, slower. I can learn something new every day. One more time, with intention. I can learn something new every day. That's it. Let's continue. Repeat after me. Mistakes help me grow. One more time. Mistakes help me grow. Now, let's say this one together. Small steps matter. Say it again. Small steps matter. And now, I will keep going even when it's hard. Repeat. I will keep going even when it's hard. You're doing well. I want you to hear your own voice and know that each time you repeat these phrases, you're reinforcing something important, not just vocabulary, but self-trust. Let's try a few more. Repeat after me. I am building confidence every day. Now say it again. I am building confidence every day. Let's add this. With practice, I get better. Say it one more time. With practice, I get better. Now try this one. I trust my learning process. Repeat again. I trust my learning process. Take your time. There's no need to rush. Say this out loud even if it feels strange at first. My voice matters. Again. My voice matters. One more. I have something valuable to say. Let's say both together. My voice matters. I have something valuable to say. If you've been listening silently, maybe now is the time to try whispering. Just move your lips. Let the words travel from your ears to your mouth. Say this. I am becoming more confident. Again. I am becoming more confident. Now this. It's okay to take my time. Say it with me. It's okay to take my time. Let's add one more. My progress is real. Repeat. My progress is real. Now, let's revisit some key affirmations from earlier. Repeat after me. I am learning. Again. I am learning. Now. I am growing. One more time. I am growing. Now, both together. I am learning. I am growing. Say it again. I am learning. I am growing. Now let's try some full sentences from the episode. Just repeat after me. Even small efforts make a difference. I don't need permission to learn. Every word I say helps me grow. I am allowed to make mistakes. I am building a new skill day by day. Now, let's switch the rhythm a little. I'll say a line, then give you space to say it on your own. I am learning English with patience. Pause. I believe in my ability to grow. Pause. Today, I chose to practice. Pause. My English is getting stronger. Pause. Speaking out loud helps me learn. Pause. You don't have to repeat everything perfectly. Just pick a few that feel right for you. The goal is to get used to hearing yourself in English, without pressure, without judgment. Your voice is your tool. Let it be part of your progress. Let's say a few more together, slowly and clearly. I am not alone in this journey. I am part of a learning community. Other people are learning just like me. We are growing together. I am proud of myself for trying. Take a deep breath. Let's speak this next one with clarity. I can understand more each day. Now again. I can understand more each day. And this, English is becoming part of my life. Repeat. English is becoming part of my life. Just a few more now. These are gentle reminders, not rules. Just speak them with me if you feel ready. I can speak slowly and clearly. My practice is valuable. I don't need to compare myself to others. I am exactly where I need to be. Each word I say brings me closer to fluency. Now, one final round of quiet repetition. Close your eyes if you want to. I am learning something new. I am doing my best. My voice is strong. I believe in my growth. I can learn something new every day. You're doing something powerful. Just by repeating these words, you're training your mind and your mouth to work together. You're connecting what you hear to what you say. This is how it begins. One phrase, one breath, one moment of confidence. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember, every word you speak, every sentence you practice is a step forward. Progress doesn't always feel big or fast, but it is happening quietly, steadily, within you. Your journey with English is uniquely yours. There's no perfect moment to start, and no perfect way to learn. What matters most is that you keep showing up, keep trying, and keep believing in yourself. Because confidence grows from courage, the courage to make mistakes, to be imperfect, and to keep going anyway. You are stronger than you realize. You are capable beyond measure. And with each small step, you're building a future where English is no longer a barrier, but a bridge. Thank you for trusting me to be part of your journey. Keep your voice alive, keep your heart open, and above all, keep moving forward, one word at a time. I'm Julia,